Thanks, Charlie. It's Sean Smith. And Renegades, we're going to talk just briefly tonight about what happened on the ice. The Predators lost 5-0. It was a butt whipping. Nothing really more to say other than that. The team didn't do anything it needed to do or was supposed to do at any level that was competitive against the Boston Bruins. And that's about all I'm going to say about it. Here's what I really want to talk about. You're going to hear a lot on social media, a lot of people talking around the water coolers at work. The common theme and topic of discussion amongst Preds fans is going to be whether or not this team is going to be a seller. Now, you've heard a lot recently based on David Poyle's comments about how they're definitely not going to be a buyer, but what they decide to do is largely dependent on the next few games. Pierre LeBrun talked right before the Predators game tonight about how he had heard from reliable sources that if the Predators didn't heat up really quickly, that Poyle would probably be willing to listen to any kind of offer on any of his players. And that comment right before the game that the Predators just had should tell you all you need to know about how things are probably going to go. But the reality is, folks, there's still a lot of talk that the Preds are a playoff team. And let's just pretend that they are for a moment. Let's be really, really honest. When you barely squeak into the playoffs, when you are that last wild card spot, you're the 8th seed, and look, I know you're going to bring up and say, what about 2017, Sean? Fine, okay, that's I know it happened. It was really cool. It probably got a lot of people who were not into hockey, and it probably fired up a lot of people that have been following the team for a long time. But at any point this season, have the Predators been able to put on a big show against a team like the Boston Bruins? The answer is no. And that's the problem, is when you are that 8th seed, you're playing the number 1 seed that first round. And you saw last season what happens when a team like the Predators goes up against a team like the Colorado Avalanche, a team that ended up winning the Stanley Cup. It was not pretty. It was not what you wanted to see your team do after fighting their way into the playoffs. At any level of fandom, you would look at that performance and go, ooh, that was bad. And I think realistically at this moment, you look at this game, you're sitting on the cusp of a little bit of time left for the trade deadline, sure, but also when does the team start making the decision as to what to do? Do they pack it in and say, you know what, it ain't going to happen this year, let's sell what we can and try to rebuild? And the reality is that unless you're willing and happy and satisfied with squeaking into the playoffs and promptly getting booted out in the first round by a team like the Colorado Avalanche, or last season, or like you saw the Bruins do tonight, a team like the Bruins, the best team in the league, if that's what you want to see, then sure, hang on to your players, fight your way into the playoffs. But this team ain't getting it done. And Charlie, it's not positive. But I think long term, that's probably what's going to be best for this team, is to say, okay, we've got to find a way to get some new life in here, get some players in. Let's rebuild this team. The pieces we put together, the core we've built, for all intents and purposes, isn't going to be able to get the job done. The supporting players they're bringing in aren't the difference makers for the team. And these guys having career years last year, not being able to reproduce those results, it's not promising. So that's all I have for tonight. I'm sorry it's not more positive, but I'm just trying to be realistic. And I would like to think, Renegades, that you come to the show for a reality check. That's all I got, Charlie. I'm going to send it back over to you.